Something strange is happening to Generation Z. They're the most connected generation in history. They have more technology, more information, more convenience than any generation before them. Yet many of them say the same thing. I feel mentally exhausted. But why? Why would the most technologically advanced generation feel the most mentally drained? To understand this, we need to go down a psychological rabbit hole. Generation Z grew up in a world that never turns off. Notifications, messages, algorithms constantly pushing content. Their brain is exposed to thousands of tiny information signals every single day, each one demanding attention. And your brain treats every signal like something important. That constant stimulation slowly drains mental energy. Psychologists call this cognitive overload. The human brain evolved to focus on a limited number of things at once. But today, your brain processes news, social media messages, schoolwork, trends all at the same time. And every time you switch attention, your brain burns energy, which means the modern mind is constantly running in the background. But here's where the rabbit hole gets deeper. Previous generations lived in slower environments. Information moves slower. Trends change slower. But Generation Z lives in a world where everything changes constantly. A new trend every week. A new skill you're supposed to learn. A new standard of success. Your brain starts asking dangerous questions. Am I falling behind? Am I doing enough? Am I successful enough? And those questions slowly drain mental energy. But perhaps the most powerful factor is comparison. Social media shows millions of carefully edited lives, people showing success, achievements, perfect moments. But what you rarely see is the struggle behind those moments. So the brain compares your real life with someone else's highlight reel. And that comparison creates silent psychological pressure. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Generation Z is also one of the most self-aware generations in history. They think deeply about mental health, identity, purpose. Meaning and deep thinking requires mental energy. A brain constantly analyzing life will always feel more exhausted than a brain simply reacting to it. So the exhaustion might not be weakness. It might actually be a side effect of something powerful: awareness. When you start noticing the complexity of the world, your brain starts processing more, thinking more, questioning more, and that mental activity can feel like exhaustion. So maybe the real question isn't, why is Generation Z so mentally exhausted? Maybe the real question is, what happens when an entire generation becomes deeply aware of the world around them? Because if that awareness keeps growing, it might completely change the way the next generation thinks about life.